Intelligent people do not assume to know what will make them truly happy. We can't just assume that we know what is going to make us happy. We can't just assume that getting that job or signing that client or dating that person or getting married or moving to that place or looking that way is going to be it. At one point, Christmas made a lot of us more happy than it does now. At one point, a birthday party made us feel a lot more happy than it does now. If money made you happy when you were broke, the same amount of money is not going to make you happy when you're rich. Emotionally intelligent people do not assume being fearful is a sign that they are on the wrong path. A sign that you're on the wrong path is indifference. If you are fearful about something, that is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. You're being pushed towards something. That's intention. Who knows if it always will be the right thing? What we do know is that you're on the right path. It might not lead to exactly where you want, but you're going into a direction you know you need to go into. They know that happiness is a choice, but do not feel they need to make that choice all the time. Happiness is not a sustained state of joy. Being happy is moment by moment. If you were only experiencing one emotion all the time, then that's not living. You're not living. You're just in existence. Living the human experience means that you experience all the emotions. And you should allow yourself to say, I'm not in a happy state right now. Emotionally intelligent people know that a feeling will not kill them. You're not going to die because you're angry. You're only going to die if you start doing stupid things because you're angry. Emotionally intelligent people do not confuse a bad feeling for a bad life. When you fight the bad feeling, when you fight the bad day, that is anything but peaceful. If you just come to grips with this is just not a good day for me. It's not my day. I got bad news. I lost a client. Somebody hit the back of my car on the way to the gym, and I just want to go home, go to sleep, and start this one over tomorrow. That's part of life. If I'm fighting against that bad day, if I'm fighting against that bad feeling, I'm causing war within myself. You're able to have peace when you just accept it. This is a bad stretch of life, or this is a bad day, or this is a bad week. These are bad feelings. But this doesn't make it a bad life.
We are live and alive.
Live, Olia, come in. Olia, come in this morning. Sorry, I'm cleaning. Spilled coffee. Coffee spilled all over my desk.
Oh no.
This is a bad feeling. This is a bad stretch of life.
Can never get tired of that video. I like that video.
When you fight the bad feeling, I'm playing. So yesterday, I met a couple friends for happy hour.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "How was your day?" And I was like, "My day was dope." And they were like, "Dope? What do you mean your day was dope? Like, why are you so happy about your day?" And I was like, "Well, you want like I'm just grateful it was a good day." And they were like, "Okay, so what made it good?" I was like, "Actually, nothing." but I'm just grateful. They're like, "What do you mean nothing?" And then I explained to them, well, it was late in the morning because the train was delayed twice. And then I had to rush through my workout. And then there was just a whole bunch of things that I can't get into because it's office stuff and business stuff. But yeah, it was a lot. But it was dope.
Yeah. So, Jay, there's some crazy stuff that is happening now because of this hurricane stuff, right? Um, so you know how I told you how my goat it had a kid about a few days ago.
Yes.
Um,
And by the way, good morning, Christina. Good morning, Sharice. Good morning. Sorry, my screen is so far because can you read that? My screen is so far because I'm cleaning the coffee that just spilled.
oh, happy yeah, Christina. Good morning, Christina. Christina says, "Good morning, happy Wednesday." Nurse Space says, "Good morning." Uh, share share Sherry says CMJNC. Good morning. No, I guess she meant good morning. Maria, good morning. Good morning, guys. Yeah,
So tell me about your kids.
not my kids. But so the goat, right? It had during the hurricane, it was pregnant and stuff, and
Which
It
goat?
uh,
Because you have multiple goats,
I
right?
yeah. So there was only one that was pregnant, and it was after the whole hurricane. It had the kid about 3 or 4 days ago, and it refused to feed it. And they're saying my dad went around because he was trying to get advice on how to to take care of it and stuff, and everybody's saying that the same thing is happening to them, and they've never really experienced that before.
Maybe the goats are traumatized.
Yeah, so that's what they're saying. They're saying that they experience a high level of stress, and because of that now, then everybody's going through the same thing where the mother is refusing to feed the kid, and now you can't get any goat milk replacers, because when the mother doesn't feed the
But
kid
does the
any.
goat still have milk?
Yeah, it does, but sometimes um it's best to just.
You guys didn't think that we'd be talking about goats on a
I
7:30 in the
know.
or
But
4:30, like with
so
Christina.
so you have to get goat milk replacers, but there's none right now because it's happening to everybody, so it's shortage, right? And then now I remember seeing on a post last night that there are people who are seeing weird bugs, like bugs that they've never seen before, and they're saying it's because the hurricane brought those things as well. So that's what's happening right now.
That's like the aftermath of the aftermath, and then you'll probably see more and more. The earthquake in Haiti.
Mhm.
I've up until probably 2 or 3 years ago, I was speaking to somebody from Haiti, and they were like, yeah, they're still recovering from it. Like there's still stuff that is not like they're still trying to work through, and that earthquake was a really, really long time ago. So
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
even remember when it happened.
I think it was like I want to say 2009 or something like that. Yeah,
Still recovering.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, this morning I wanted to have a conversation about habits. I know that everybody hates hearing that, but I was reading Atomic Habits this morning. Really great book by what's the guy's name? James Clear. James Clear, and on finally updated. This chapter was actually about the 4 parts of a habit. Do you know what the 4 parts of a habit are? Do
I
you know any
think
of
I
the four?
should know, but I don't.
Know any of the four?
um, I want to say discipline.
No. Um, the 4 parts of a habit: cue, craving, response, reward. Cue, craving, response, reward. Now, I took a lot of notes this morning because the way he wrote this book, it just, you want to write everything down. So I'm not going to get through all the notes that I did take this morning, unfortunately, but I will get through as many of the notes as I possibly can. But before that, have you heard of this show called The Office?
Yeah.
In YouTube, type in The Office Dwight Mint, 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 and conditioning. The Office Dwight Mint conditioning. Habit was bad too. Oh yeah, Haiti was bad too. Yeah, absolutely. Haiti was bad. Yeah, very, very bad. Um, so as you're doing that, I just want to just read a few of the things that I wrote down that are most important to what I'm about to discuss about cue, craving, response, and reward. Those are 4 parts of a habit, and we're going to go and explore each 4 of them, what they do, and how we can um, use that to basically condition our own selves into having good habits. Do you see the second video? Should be the first or second video with Jim's big old face on it. It should be about a
Yeah,
minute long.
yeah, yeah. I have
Play
it.
that for everybody. I want to play this first so that you guys can understand where I'm going with this instead of me just randomly reading notes. And then we'll play it at the end so you guys can see it again and say, that's exactly what the book was talking about. Go ahead.
Let me pull that up right
So this is
now.
perfect. Cue, craving, response, reward. Cue, craving, response, reward. That's this. You're going to see it in this video right now. You're going to see it perfectly. Cue, the craving, the response, and the reward.
another file.
Full screen that, please.
Gonna have to reboot again. Hey, Dwight, do you
Let's start
want
that
Altoid?
over.
What do you think? Oh, damn. Lost another file. Gonna have to reboot again. Hey, Dwight, do you want an Altoid? What do you think? In school, we learned about this scientist who trained dogs to salivate at the sound of a bell by feeding them whenever a bell rang. So for the past couple weeks, I've been conducting a similar experiment. Dwight, want an Altoid? Okay. Altoid? Sure. Mint Dwight? Mint Dwight? Yes. What are you doing? What?
I don't know. Well, my mouth tastes so bad all of a sudden. Ugh.
Keep that video handy, but that's it. Cue, craving, response, reward. And when you continue to do that, all of a sudden, that sound was associated with him eating an Altoid. And so his mouth is salivating all of a sudden because it was built into the habit. So he starts this chapter with talking about cats. And he talks about cats pulling a lever. So these cats are trapped in a box and they have to like either hit a lever or hit a button. The box opens and there's food outside of the box. And so as time goes on and he does this experiment with these cats, originally it was like it would take the cat like almost a minute to get out of the box. But afterward, the cat got out of the box. I think by the end, the cat was getting out of the box like 8 seconds. Okay, in 8 seconds, the cat was able to get out of the box right away and get the food. Obviously, with practice, each cat made fewer errors, as I wrote down, and got to the food faster. So why is that a thing? Well, because the cat formed a behavior, right? And what is a habit? I wrote down an actual definition of a habit because a lot of people don't even think about what the definition of a habit is. I know I hadn't. So I wrote down the definition of a habit. I wrote down a habit is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to become automatic. A habit is a repeated behavior that's been repeated so many times that you're doing it automatically without thinking. You plug out the toaster when you're finished. You get up, you put your pants on with the same leg at the same time. Sorry, same leg in the same order. You put your shoes on right foot or left foot every time. It's the same order, right? And so that's kind of the definition of a habit. We don't even realize we're doing it. So behaviors, they tend to follow satisfying consequences, right? And then they become repeated. So if you have these behaviors, it for some reason satisfies you, that behavior then becomes repeated and you do it over and over again. And the behaviors that follow, say, I guess, unpleasant consequences, those ones are the ones that don't get repeated. With this information, we can go and actually apply it to our lives. It's actually that easy, right? If remember that cue, craving, response, reward. If we go to the reward section of that 4-step cycle, if we go to the reward part, if we make sure that we have great rewards for the behavior, it's going to encourage us to continue doing that behavior. And if we make sure that we have behavior that is not good, like for example, when people spray their cat with a water bottle. A lot of people do that. The cat learns the behavior and it doesn't repeat the behavior, right? So if we understand that and we intentionally create that within our lives, we're already ahead of the game. So how do we go about doing that? Well, we think about something very simple. You're feeling anxious, right? Here's a perfect example. You're feeling anxious, you go for a run, and then you feel better, right? That's the reward, is feeling better. The run was the action, right? That was the response. The craving was, I want to have this relief of feeling anxious. And the cue was, I'm feeling anxious. That feeling is the cue. I'm feeling anxious. I'm crave to have this feeling gone. I do the response. I go for a run. And then my reward is I'm not feeling anxious anymore. But here's the problem, guys. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. The problem is that exact example could be said for smoking a cigarette. See, you're feeling anxious, right? You want the anxiousness to stop. Your response is now smoking a cigarette and you feel better. And a cigarette is not good for you, while a run is good for you. They're total opposite responses. And they do the same thing. They give you the same reward, but one is good for you and one is not good for you. I wrote down another one, right? You come home from after a stressful day and you play video games or you cook and you realize it makes you feel better. Or you play with your dog, or you know, hang out with your spouse or something like that, or you hang out with your kids, you play with your kids, makes you feel better. All those things, good things. They're all great things that is going to help you, right? It's going to actually push your life forward as long as you're not playing too much video games. But you sit down. I remember in our office in Mexico City, Cody used to be at the office working with us. And Cody, did you not play video games literally every day in the office? And did I not encourage you to do that?
Yeah.
Right. He brought his what is it that you had?
Nintendo Switch.
Nintendo Switch. He brought his Nintendo Switch into the office, and I told him, like, yo, when you have a break, if you're feeling like this is a lot, go and release that stress and go and play your video games. I don't care. Take your break, play your video games, whatever. I used to go for walks. But my point is that these are healthy things. But then there's another thing that's not as healthy, right? You come home, hard day of work or a stressful day at work, you come home and you reach for the bottle of scotch or brandy, or maybe you polish off a bottle of wine. That is not going to help you. It's not healthy. And maybe a drink here or there is a good practice, could be, I don't know. But the point is that is not a good habit. Now you're forming a habit, and that's not a good habit, because that's what we call a drinking habit. And the drinking habit is not going to help you in life in the long run, right? So we have to be careful with the cue, craving, response, and reward, because different responses could still give us the same reward. And those different responses are the actual habit, right? They are the actual habit. We got one that said red wine is good for you. So I believed that for many years, and I still believe it, by the way, for your heart. I heard it's good for your heart. And I still believe it. However, I actually was just reading something the other day. I think maybe 2 months or 3 months ago. And I was having a discussion with somebody, and I told them that no amount of alcohol is good for you. At any, like zero alcohol is good for you. And they brought up the red wine. And then I was looking it up, and I read this article that's been debunked, that red wine is actually not good for you the way they thought. Now, I choose to believe it still is, so that I can enjoy my red wine. Okay? I choose to believe it's still good for you. I need more proof. I need more articles. I need more evidence before I throw away all my bottles of red wine. But moving forward, we want to understand that those responses are important, right? Now, here's how this all works. The reason why we have some responses that are good for us, that do the same thing, as some responses that are not good for us, that give you the same reward, is because we stumble upon these things. We don't necessarily plan it, right? What I wrote is you stumble upon the solutions, and that's when you get these unexpected responses that give you a reward, right? Once this happens, I put your brain begins to automate the process of solving these problems that we face repeatedly. So your brain creates this mental rule that if this, then that. If this, then that. So let me explain. You might not have ever realized that certain things might help you, and then you just did it, and then it helped. Or somebody said, hey, it worked for me, why don't you try it? And then it helped. You kind of stumble across these responses that give you these rewards, and it's not intentional. And so once you do that, your brain doesn't know, well, this is not good, and this is not a healthy habit to start building. Your brain doesn't know that. Your brain just knows, if this is the problem, then that is the solution. If this, then that. So if this happens, then that is what we should do. And so your brain creates this trigger process, which is also known as the cue, and then you get that craving, and then you do the response, right? So it's always if this, then that. If this, then that. So let's get into those 4 steps, which is going to be the trigger. That triggers your craving. Your craving then goes into your response. Your response goes towards. So the cue, it's a trigger. It's the first indication that we are close to a reward. Okay, it's the first indication that we are close to reward. The cue naturally leads to a craving, right? So he used in the book, he used bells in a casino. That for a gambler, that's a cue that led to the craving of them wanting to gamble. That's the craving. Now I want to gamble, and then the response is obviously you gamble, and the reward is the thrill. The reward is the thrill. You would think the reward is winning, but any chronic gambler will tell you that they're down, not up. So that's the cue. Then I put the craving. Okay, so what we crave is not the actual habit itself, but the change of state that delivers it. Okay, so we're not craving the habit, we're craving the change of state. So remember the example I gave you with the anxiousness. You're feeling anxious. Your crave is to not feel anxious anymore. It's to change the state of feeling anxious, right? Some people, maybe they're feeling shy, or some people are feeling angry or sad, something like that. Whatever the habit is not the actual craving. Your craving is just to change the state of how you feel in that moment in time. And then the actual habit is the response of the craving, right? So the craving obviously leads to the actual habit that we perform. Now, remember, it doesn't have to necessarily be a physical action that you do, right? A habit could be a thought. It could be a thought or an action. So that habit, what I wrote down here is the habit that we perform. It takes form in, it takes form as a thought or an action, but that is the response, right? The response is a thought, or the response is an action. Don't ever forget, guys, please don't ever forget, because I know I forget this a lot. I got to remind myself not to forget that our habits are our thoughts too, and our thoughts then become our actions. So even if we are not necessarily performing a habit in the form of an action, we may start doing things that aren't good because of the fact that we're performing a habit in the form of a thought that then leads to an action. Okay, that then leads to an action. So it's very important to remember, protect your thoughts as well. It's not just your habits. When we think about habits, we think about what we're doing in the physical world, but we also have to know that if we have the habit for our mind to go into a certain place, and in that certain place we start doing things or thinking about things or not doing things that we're supposed to do, or doing or thinking things that we're not supposed to do, then we also have to remember that as well, right? Because it could lead to bad behavior. And when I say bad behavior, I just mean behavior that's detrimental to your goals and to your health and to your livelihood, and obviously to those around you that you actually care about. All right, so now that we understand that part, right, we also have to remember that whether or not the response occurs depends on how motivated you actually are, right? Because here's the thing, you may have a cue, a trigger, let's say to go to the gym, right? Something triggered you, then you craved, you know what, I want to go to the gym. I want to get up and I want to go for a run, or I want to exercise in some way. But if your motivation, this depends on three things actually. Your motivation, how motivated you are, how much friction is associated with the behavior itself, and then the abilities that you have. So if you don't have the ability to go to the gym, let's say you have the flu and you're sick in bed, you have a fever, you're weak, you got the chills, you can't exercise. So that behavior won't happen, even though the cue is there, even though the craving is there. The response will not be there because you are unable. You're just physically unable to do it. And then the other two are friction and motivation. Sometimes you're just not motivated. You kind of want to do it, but then the motivation just wasn't there in that moment in time, and you just did not perform it. That's why you always want to make sure that you have means of motivation around you. The last thing the second thing that I listed, but the last thing I'm gonna mention out of these three things is the friction. What if exercise or the gym is so far? If the gym is an hour drive away, you don't have at-home workout equipment, and you can't do I don't know, you can't do any workout on the ground or anything like that because your house is flooded. I don't know. The friction, there's so much friction between you and the associated behavior that you just won't do it. Now, this can go both ways, because if we perform an action, if we're more likely to perform an action or to perform a response when there is little friction, then the bad habits, if we put more friction between the associated behavior, which would be the bad habit in this case, if we put more friction between us and that habit, then we're also less likely to do that action as well, right? So it's very important, because I'm just explaining the mechanics of the habit itself, but it goes both ways, because there are good habits and bad habits. So we can skew these to make us or help us to perform good habits, and then we can skew it to help us not perform bad habits. All right. So essentially, the action at the end, that's what delivers the reward. So the cue, that's your trigger. The craving, that's when you want to do something, you want to move out of a particular state. You don't want to be in the particular state that you're in, whether it's mentally or physically or whatever, right? If it's cold, it's been cold this week in New York. If you don't want to be out in the cold, you want to change the state, you want to be warm, right? So it could be mental, it could be physical, but you want to change the state that you're in. Wait a second. Somebody's walking around and I don't recognize them. And then, sorry, we got robbed like last month. So our office got robbed last month. So I'm always looking around. They caught the guy last week, by the way. See, last week, Tuesday, they caught the guy. They came in and said that they caught him. But yes. So anyways, I was speaking about skewing, changing the state. Yeah. So that you just want to change a state. And then obviously the response is, I want to change a state. And then the reward closes the loop. The reward closes the loop. For some reason, all of my notes didn't load here. So I'm going to just go off of the rest of the notes that I know I wrote down. I'm going to give you an example of a habit. Your phone rings or buzzes. There's a text message. That is the cue. That's the trigger. Phone buzzes, letting you know you have a text message. The craving is you wanting to know what the text message says. So you want to change the state. And right now you're in a state of, I don't know who it is, and I don't know what the text message says. You want to change that. You want to be informed, right? So the response is to pick up the phone and read the text message, so that you are now informed as to who it is and what they said. And the reward is now you are informed. The reward is now I have the information that I was craving, and I did that response to know what was happening, right? So again, trigger, phone buzzes, craving, I want to know who it is and what they said. Response, I pick up the phone, I read the text message. Reward, I now know who it is and what they said. Here's the thing though. Now, over time, just like the cats that we were talking about in the beginning, over time, all of a sudden, every time your phone buzzes, you pick it up, you reach for it, because your phone buzzing is associated with the behavior of picking it up. And that is exactly what we just saw with Dwight. Just play that one more time for people who just got in. Play that one more time. That is exactly what we just saw. The cue, the craving, the response, and the reward, we've seen it in real life. So play this one more time. Thank you.
Oh, damn. That's another file. Gonna have to reboot again. Hey, Dwight, do you want an Altoid?
What do you think?
In school, we learned about this scientist who trained dogs to salivate at the sound of a bell by feeding them whenever a bell rang. So for the past couple weeks, I've been conducting a similar experiment. Dwight, want an Altoid?
Okay.
Altoid?
Sure.
And Dwight?
Really? Yes.
What are you doing?
I
What?
don't know. Well, tastes so bad all of a sudden. Oh.
Jim Hurt.
Yeah, Jim Hurts. Tai Chi heals, guys.
It's a perfect video to pop up after.
So what do you think about this stuff that James Clear is talking about? And again, this, by the way, guys, these 4 steps, they're all part of The Power of Habit, which is a book written by Charles Duhigg, which is also a really great book that I've read. But these 4 steps is all from The Power of Habit, and he does give him credit. But to James Clear's credit, he does give him credit for this part. But go ahead.
Yeah, it seems pretty interesting. I mean, if you understand how habits work, and you know, if you understand how it works, then you'll better understand how to change a habit that you want to change, or to further develop it into something even better. You know what I mean?
110%. And let's use this for bad habits, right? Remember, we said there are 3 things that actually allow us to make the response, or to do the habit, basically. The 3 things was motivation, friction, and ability, right? So let's use smoking cigarettes for an example, because it's a habit that a lot of people like struggle with. Well, if you don't have cigarettes, you can't smoke them. So first of all, just make sure there's no cigarettes in your house, there's no cigarettes in your bag, there's no whatever. Now, of course, you can go to the store and buy them, but that now is friction, right? So now you have to get up, you have to get dressed, you have to go to the store, you have to buy the cigarettes, right? So you don't keep them, and then you add a little bit of friction. Just by doing that, you'll smoke less automatically. And by keeping cigarettes around you and keeping them in your bag and stuff like that, and you have the ability, and you also have no friction in between it, right? In an interview with James Clear, I saw him. And you guys, if you guys could put this on Amazon, you could check it out on Amazon if you want. He used an example that I've given to some of my clients that's worked for eating junk food, and he had clients that, like, I think it was potato chips was the example he used. And basically, what he did is he bought an Amazon container with a lock on it. It's like a coded lock. Like, I think it's like those locks that like you use in the locker room. So like a combination lock.
Mhm.
So the container has a combination lock on it. It's like a plastic container. And the only person that can open it is the spouse. So the guy's wife can open the potato chip thing, and they put all the foods in there that they don't want to eat. They don't want to eat on a regular basis. And the wife is the one that allows him and the kids to go in there and actually eat them. So they're in the house, but he can't access it. So it's just extra friction, and it just removes the ability to just go in the fridge and eat junk food, or go in the cupboard and start eating junk food, right? And so those are just simple things. We'll get into this book a lot more probably before the end of the year. This is only the second video I've done on this, but can you please put a link to the first video that we did on this, the first live, which I think was about 6 weeks ago. We did a live about this book. It's a great book. If you guys have the time, pick it up. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I have the actual physical copy, and I have it on Audible. If you get it on Audible, it's actually James Clear that's narrating it. It's actually him that reads it. I usually like books like that. 5 second Rule is another one. It's actually Mel Robbins that's actually narrating it. So any last words, any announcements? Because we do have 2 lives tomorrow. We have a live tomorrow morning, and then we have a live in the evening tomorrow. And we're going to be doing a few things that are different. So we had a meeting yesterday, a YouTube meeting yesterday, and we're adding some things to the channel. So I'm excited about that. But any announcements, anything that you want to wrap up with? You're on mute.
Oh, it catches me every time. Anyways, no, I'm excited to see what we bring tomorrow and stuff for the regular Thursday live.
100%. Guys, I trust this will help you. Again, the power of Atomic Habits. Check out the book. Go and be great. Greatness is a choice, and you make that choice every moment of every day. All right, y'all. See you tomorrow morning.
Peace.
Right now, me feeling high like a helicopter. Spin out your rags in the air like a chopper. Hennessy punching Johnny Walker. Somebody tell the police they just can't stop us. High like a helicopter. Spin out your rags in the air like a chopper. Hennessy punching Johnny Walker. Somebody tell the police they just can't stop us. Oh, when me choppers them. 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 Rags with me, flags with me, rags with me, flags with me, rags with me, flags with me. Yo, spin your rags in the air like a chopper. Wave your rags like a helicopter. Spin out your rags in the air like a chopper. Round and round like a helicopter. Spin your rags in the air like a chopper. Wave your rags like a helicopter. Spin your rags in the air like a chopper. High choppers fly helicopters. We drunk cause we drink like a fish in the water. So high is like the world spinning faster. Dripping with sweat but it don't really matter. The music making me ball out. We see ladies and we call out. Them girls and them whining all out. Look a fight in the back, them brawl out. What? Me no business about that. Girls on me mind, so me thinking about that. Woman in the place, so me hunting for that. Bumpers in me face, so me on the attack. Just give me Henny, yo, give me Stack. No racial thing, white oak, Johnny Black. Oh gosh, I could catch a jet lag. 1919 does have me feeling high like a helicopter. Spin out your rags in the air like a chopper. Hennessy punching Johnny Walker. Somebody tell the police they just can't stop us.